time.
Feel good movie.
The feel good movie of the year, some would say, or of the summer, Midsommar.
Florence Pugh. If you want to see a good movie with Florence Pugh, make you
feel
little niece, your grandma happy. This or Little Women. It's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, that or The Good Dinosaur. If you really want to just really feel good.
Was Florence Pugh the good dinosaur?
So.
Yeah.
Midsommar.
Mm-hmm.
Weird movie, dude.
Yes.
Don't really know if I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely like it. I enjoyed it. I think that I don't know if I'd willingly rewatch it again by myself, but I think maybe I could watch it with someone.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go too far in it because we'll wait to get into all that.
Right.
But it definitely did not. It had me looking at the screen the whole time. Weird pace. I feel like it was trying to convey some weird things. Definitely some surprises. The physical horror and gore of it was awesome.
Yeah.
And sticks with you.
Yes.
I don't know what to think about it, though. I'm still kind of weirded out by it. I would recommend this movie to horror fans.
Okay.
Definitely would recommend it to horror fans.
Probably this, and it's not quite there, but this and a movie like Blue Valentine are like the ultimate like non-date night movies.
Bombers.
If you're in a bad relationship, or if you see your relationship potentially ending in the next, let's say, day to 6 months, probably not the movie.
These are the keys.
Yes.
You want that relationship
or
to
maybe
end,
if you wanted to hurry up.
Yeah, just go ahead and watch it, and then you're going to
get into a fight when you get home.
Yeah, just make it happen. Whereas, what's funny is that both of them were believable.
Yes.
Now that you brought up Blue Valentine in it, because they are both about just the demise of relationships, kind of. But and that's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
But no, Blue Valentine is actually something that, man, maybe I knew a couple like that. It was terrible. I watched them go.
Right.
Like this one is like it makes you scared as a viewer. Like, what if that happened to me?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's okay. So I also recommended very similar recommendation. If you can handle kind of uncomfortable horror films, this is a very artfully well done one with things to say. Good performances, interesting visuals,
gore.
Yes, but not for the lighthearted.
No.
Yeah, my mom watched, I think, almost the entire thing, but she.
Well, what's funny is she watched pretty much the worst parts visually.
Yeah, I guess she missed the. Okay, and we'll go to spoiler talks now. She missed all she missed was like the bear. And the
fire at the end.
But that's like compared to everything else you've seen at that point.
That's tame.
That's not that bad.
I mean, if she said that she walked in, she left when she saw the.
She probably left in the orgy.
The orgy scene.
Yeah.
It's not really
an orgy.
It's a spectating or
right. There's cheerleaders.
Cheerleaders and a little bit of reinforcement at one point. She's like.
One of the more awkward moments in it.
And he's stripped. Okay, so that's another thing. There's a lot of drugs involved in this movie.
Yes.
And not like not necessarily
smoking
like
doobies.
Right, but even in the beginning, one of the first thing you hear is the boyfriend talking to the girl, and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And you hear him on the phone. He's like, "Oh, I just smoked some resin with so and so. I'm about to get." Like, there's a lot of
drug culture.
Weird drug culture references in this.
Right. Or I'm just assuming Ari Aster probably.
I guess he has to write that stuff. Yeah. I personally, the movie was for a slow burn. It didn't feel like a slow burn.
No.
I knew it was a slow burn as I'm watching because of the way that it's like got this somber tone kind of, but it's also it pierces, it's chilling to your core, to your spine. The whole time you're watching it, you're just really like uneasy feeling, and then by the end, there were times I was by myself and I was cleaning a little bit around the house, standing in the middle of my living room, like watching the TV, like with my mouth open, and then like wow, and then they just jump to another scene.
I saw it in a movie theater. I don't know how well this movie did or not. The movie theater that I was in, I was literally the only person in the movie theater when I went to go see it.
Which is probably even weirder.
It made it a little bit spookier too, especially that opening scene where that's, for me, I think that's the most uncomfortably scary part of the movie. because it's like involving like a family member and suicide
and murder
and depression, and just that shot where it's like the tube going through
all the
the
way up
house.
the stairs, and then it duct taped to her mouth.
Oh,
the daughter.
gosh.
Yeah, no, that was very tattooed in your brain.
Yes. I will say, in terms of like holy shit moments that the movie had, it never quite gets back to that point, but it gets close.
There's some moments though that it gets there for me. I think for me when it really got there is when, and again we already said spoilers.
Yeah.
So now tell me how you feel about this. So the tall, dark, curly-haired guy.
Yes.
And then his girl.
Yeah.
You see her in the wheelbarrow at the end.
Right.
And she's all just, but they never show what happens to her. They just show her in the wheelbarrow. But like they don't really show what happens to him. They just show that, oh, we took him into town. But then when they see him, you find him in that barn.
Yes.
Okay, was that his lungs still breathing? What was that?
I think it's just on display.
No, they were
moving?
They were pulsating.
Oh, really?
I rewound it to see. They were still pulsating.
That has to be a little bit of just artistic luck. Maybe that. There's no way scientifically that would happen, right?
I
don't think.
But I mean, I just want to know what that was, or if it was just nerves, or what it was. Like, I'd like to know. I didn't do any research on it because it was fresh in my head watching it, but that part I thought was one of the parts that was really like, because the camera takes so long to pan from underneath them for you to finally see what's going on.
Right.
To me, that was kind of, and then
I didn't notice the movement, so I never really questioned it.
Yeah, the two they're strung out and they're literally. They're pulsating.
Which
like
probably
that.
shows that I was grossed out enough that I was probably like, and I get the information. Maybe.
No,
yeah.
And then, like, come on, dude, when the two old people jump off.
That is very, very uncomfortable. Yeah, those are all, yes. Those get to you, those moments. What's kind of interesting about Lighthouse and Midsommar, because we're reviewing them back to back, is they're both sophomore efforts by horror filmmakers who were came to fame with their first movie. I think Lighthouse is after The Witch, and then this is after Hereditary.
Yeah. Which they both have stuff before that.
Yes.
But it's extremely independent.
Right. These were the ones that kind of brought them to fame. Now, I think the general consensus is this was not as good as Hereditary. Do you agree?
Okay, so I think that Hereditary is more of a one that I'm like, you need to watch that movie.
Right.
Like, you should see this movie. It's cool. I've never seen a movie like this. Like, what they do, even when you think that you kind of know, figure it out, it's like, it's got a pretty cool thing the way the movie turns out.
Right.
Whereas Midsommar, I don't know if, I think I'd be very I'm not sure you should watch that movie.
Right.
Because I don't know what it's trying to say. It's like, hey, if you are really questioning stuff in life about your relationship or just things in life and something's really bad happened to you, don't go around cults.
Yes.
Is that what it's trying to say?
I think that's, we mentioned with Lighthouse and movies that have a theme. I think that's what this is about. I think if you were to distill it into one sentence, because you have Danny, isn't that her name? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have Danny's character who's got a boyfriend who's a bad boyfriend.
He's actually pretty spineless dude.
What's refreshing about it is he isn't bad boyfriend. He's real life bad boyfriend.
Yeah, he's mediocre. He forgets birthdays.
He would rather hang out with his friends probably more than he wants to hang out with his girlfriend.
But at the same time, he'd rather mumble out "I love you too" rather than just break it off.
Right, exactly.
He's too wuss enough to do that.
It's a very realistic depiction of a bad relationship because the guy's not a piece of crap.
No, he's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
He wants to. But then actually, is he? Because then that moment where he just starts stealing his buddy's thesis.
Right.
Is he a piece of shit then at that point? Kind of.
Even there, it's just you understand why he thinks it's not a bad thing to do.
Yeah,
Even though you watching the movie can be like, hey, dude, you should probably break up with your girlfriend if you don't like her that much, and you should probably not steal your buddy's thesis, right? This is probably like, even though it's not like illegal or wrong, it is kind of like a disruption of like loyalty and code or whatever. So he's like realistically just kind of a blah person. So we have him as this sort of very realistically just not great dude. And then we have her, who it starts off with her parents and her sister in this like really horrific murder-suicide. So where she's at is she really wants like connection and family now that it's gone from her life. And she's trying to get that from her boyfriend, but her boyfriend's just like kind of like an overgrown college bro who's like, you know.
Yeah. He's definitely going down a path of just becoming a zero.
Yeah. And so he's not willing to give her that kind of intimacy that she's looking for. So she finds that in the cult, right?
Yeah.
So the one scene that I think really kind of underscores that is where she's like crying and screaming, and they as a group all start crying and screaming together. And I think like that's the big thesis of like the film is like essentially like, why do people join cults? It's because people are coming from situations where they're lacking that family.
Right.
aspect.
I mean, and I got that. I figured that out. But I mean, I also am at a point in my life where I watch movies to try to figure out what is this movie trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I would
that was just too straightforward for you?
No, I don't think that's obvious. I don't think that's going to come across.
Oh, I see. It wasn't obvious.
What does
enough.
this movie mean? No, I don't.
Yeah.
Like, again, I felt it because I was looking for it.
Right.
But again, there were so many other.
You're right. Yeah, I kind of I see what you're saying. I think it could have, and then we can get into like an issue of like, don't dumb it down for your audience, but like I think there could have been a little bit better telegraphing of the theme potentially.
Yeah, because it was basically, to me, the way the movie comes off, it's like kind of the scenario. Which, by the way, if you population 417 or 450 something with Fred Durst.
Never seen.
I feel like they pulled from that movie a little bit because in that movie, even though this movie wasn't directly the same,
right.
basically when people die and new ones come in to take their place, they would do that. In the population 4 whatever, this girl, this guy gets into this town, and basically if one person enters the town, then one person has to die.
Right.
And so there was a little bit of that felt like stealing from that. The movie itself wasn't bad, but Fred Durst was trying to get an acting career, and now it's successful. Directed movies and shit, which is weird.
Wait, is he the guy who did The Fanatic?
Yep.
You like a little Limp Biscuit?
Sure.
You like a little biscuit?
Yeah.
Yeah? Nice and loud? I used to listen to this back in the day. This is hot.
So, yeah, what I was going to say is, like, if I was watching this with somebody like a girl I was dating or whatever, I think it's very much that cliche of, group of kids go off into the woods.
Right.
How crazy can we take that idea?
Yeah.
And so they do it, let's take them to Switzerland on a commune.
Right.
And let's let drugs be involved, and let's let some spiritualism and ritualistic stuff be involved, and tradition. So, like,
scary cult stuff.
At the end of the day, it is still kind of a group of kids stumble onto the wrong path movie. But just really well. And
I was gonna say, did it remind you at all of like Eli Roth, but Eli Roth
without the silly stuff?
What? No!
Without the silly stuff. Eli Roth, but
so.
like Eli Roth trying to like win an Oscar.
Yeah, very much. Like Green Inferno. I mean, it was very much that similar type of, but just.
And in the way that like Green Inferno is like Eli Roth watched Cannibal Holocaust and was like, I want to make my own Cannibal Holocaust. This felt like Ari Aster watched The Wickerman and said, I want to make my own Wickerman.
I want to do it. I want to develop a story of my own and have those feelings and stuff from that.
Yeah. Whereas I've actually never seen Green Inferno, so this might be not a fair comparison. But what I've kind of heard is Green Inferno just kind of feels like a sort of carbon copy. Like a little bit gorier and like not really like doing something new, but just like I like that genre.
Cannibal Holocaust?
I'm gonna do another one of those.
Yeah, no. It's an homage.
Yeah.
Hands down. Now, it's tough to watch at moments because it's like, whoa, they really dig in deep. And where they filmed was with real tribes and stuff like that. So
this felt like Ari Aster saw Wickerman and said, I want to do like that same genre, but he added something to it.
So instead of pouring the bees,
yeah.
What are they?
No, not the not the remake.
Oh.
No, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Open my eyes!
The original, yes.
Not the bees!
If you, oh god, I forgot the remake existed. I mean, I've never seen that. I've seen clips of it, and it looks hilarious.
Oh, dude, it's Cage and his all of his glory.
Doesn't
dude.
he punch a woman?
He punches a woman straight in the mouth. Straight in the mouth.
Gosh, the Wicker Man. No, the original Wicker Man. You've seen the original.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I had to pull it in there.
No, you had to. The original Wicker Man stars Christopher Lee. I saw when I was probably too young to watch it, but
I don't remember it actually fully through.
It's especially watching it as like a younger viewer. That ending. Now, spoilers for Wicker Man from 1974.
Sorry if you hadn't seen that.
The fact that it ends so bleak. It was that feeling of like, I didn't know you could do this in a movie.
Right, one of the first people is like, no happy ending? No, this is just like...
The movie, and it's so uncomfortable because it's the police detective being put in the Wicker Man, being burned alive, and then all of the people like singing and happy, and Saruman himself is there, and I was just like, and then just like credits start rolling, and I was like, holy wow, this is, I didn't know you could do this with a movie.
Well, you kind of couldn't.
Yeah, and
this one's like that for sure.
This one's like that. I think it does enough new things with it in the way that like say Tarantino says like I like that genre, but I'm gonna like mix my own things into it. I think he elevated, not elevated because Wicker Man I might like more actually, but he at least did something new with it.
Visually, he did something with you, and like feeling wise, like consistently throughout the movie.
And so, some of the like that really interesting shot with like the they're driving on the road.
Oh yeah, it goes upside down and.
Or honestly, like that scene where they're dancing around the spring pole. There's a name for it, but the
tetherball pole.
The tetherball pole. That I was like entranced in that scene where it just keeps cutting back to and like you're following along and it's she's getting affected by the drugs.
The drugs.
It's very subtle how they do it. It'll just be like a flower will kind of get bigger. Final thoughts on Midsommar.
Yeah, which is funny because I keep on wanting to say Midsommar.
Somar.
I think Midsommar was definitely a good movie. It did its job. I guess I did get what it was trying to convey because I mentioned that and you said, yeah, I think that's what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, brass tack it real quick.
Yep.
Did it need to be made?
It's a derivative work, but it adds enough. I'd say yes.
All right. I'd say that it needed to be made because it's. I'll never forget that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's again obvious. Was it made for art or money? I think art is definitely the deal on that. I mean, I think everything wants to make money, but I don't think it was this is going to make money. Let's make it. It was an artistic thing.
I will say like I know the general opinion is that Hereditary is the better movie. I liked Midsommar more. I think a lot of that. I mean, Hereditary is also great, and I think some of it just boils down to like the things you're interested in.
This one's weirder.
This
I
one's
thought.
more odd, and I really liked Florence Pugh as a protagonist, because in the same way that like the boyfriend is like bad but not movie boyfriend bad,
Mhm.
she seems so normal in a way that it's like I haven't seen like a horror film with a girl this normal in it.
True. Yeah. No.
You know, like it's
Almost
usually
like
like the
someone I
hot
know.
girl or like the super innocent girl or the this or the that, or like they're like very much like tropes that you see when it comes to women in horror films, and this just looked like, you know, your friend.
Yeah, I feel like I could know this girl.
Who wears
or whatever.
sweatpants
Yeah. She
sometimes.
was shorter. Yeah, she
Yeah.
wasn't. They weren't. She wasn't worried about. You know, and a lot of it had to do with her character.
Yes.
What her character was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, yeah. So art. Will it hold up in 10 years?
I don't know.
I think I will remember this movie in 10 years more than
Yeah.
I will Hereditary.
I think I agree with that.
It made a mark in my brain more
Yeah.
than Hereditary did. Not that Hereditary's bad; it's great.
And both movies are obviously playing with, you know, things that have been done before in previous horror films. But I think Ari Aster in both cases is making it his own, and like he's just executing in such a great way. You know, Hereditary has that like a super uncomfortable scene after the girl's death.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, I feel like actual anxious. I don't feel movie anxious. I like actually like
Yeah.
feel bad, like as if this were happening to me.
This one I felt anxious for. Midsommar I felt anxious for the characters, like
Yes.
for when they're watching the people about to jump off. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm anxious for you.
Right.
Like I know what they're about to do.